Welcome, Chosen One.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to another Gwent-related video here on the Ace of Plays channel. It's not a Gwent video per se. We will not be playing Gwent today. I've been wanting to do, Gwent-related but non-gameplay videos for a while as kind of a side thing. And I figured maybe, during the weekends when I usually don't record normal gameplay videos, maybe, for those of you who are interested, I could do some other things like topic discussions, card reviews, maybe bring back custom card reviews. We'll talk about that later. But today, I wanted to show you some old Gwent cards, because I know that by now a lot of the people who watch my videos were not playing Gwent during the open beta. I joined Gwent at the very end of the closed beta, so I was with it through the entire open beta. And then Homecoming, the official release came out, and it was a short time after that I started making videos. But I did play during open beta, and a lot of these cards during open beta were changed several times. But it was a beta. Like we're still beta testing the game for a few years, but I believe the versions that are here on the Gwent fandom wiki are like the most recent ones. There's also like a change log, so you can see some of the changes the cards went through. But yeah, if you just Google Gwent wiki, you will come across this fandom wiki. I think there are two, but I think one is related to The Witcher 3 Gwent, and I should close GOG here. Yeah, I think the other one is related to The Witcher 3 version of Gwent, but for this one, it's open beta. And you can click on Explore and Random Page. For some reason, there are pages for a lot of the new cards that we've gotten, in the expansions since Gwent was officially released. There's no text or images on them, but they have sites for them, which I find really strange. But if you just keep hitting Random Page, or you can, go look for specific cards or factions, like you will eventually get to some old school cards. And you know what? I've talked enough. Let's get into this. I clicked Random Page a few times, and I got to Mahakam Defender. Now, this was actually a really cool card back in the day. So one thing you gotta know, if you didn't play Beta Gwent, beta. If you're not a beta like me, if you're an alpha. No, it's not alpha. Like, by now it's like Zeta. Is that the thing? The Z thing? Back in beta, we did not have the provision system. Cards didn't have provision costs. Instead, we have bronze units, silver units, and gold units. Bronzes, you could have up to 3 copies of. Silver and gold, you could only have 1. Silver cards were, turned into just epic gold cards now. So we have epic and legendary golds. That used to be silver and gold cards, respectively. And that was just to to have some sort of limitation. Without the provision system, they needed some sort of limitation. So you could have 4 golds, 6 silvers, and, the rest bronze. So that was kind of the pre-provision system way of limiting how many of certain cards you could have. And also, you may think, okay, without provision system, how did you differentiate between the card's power? We kind of didn't. Like, all bronzes, all playable bronzes, were the ones that could get you about 11 or 12 value. Of course, we had engines that could go above that, but like, if we're talking like expected value, like now we have, 6 for 4, 7 for 5. It used to be around like 11 to 12 for bronzes, and then maybe, 13, 14, 15 for silver cards, and, like 17, 18, upwards of 20 for golds. So the cards were pretty close together in power level, which, that was good. But I do prefer the provision system. Anyway, so and then that's just kind of important to know when we're going to be looking at these cards. So you can see Machon Defender is 6 strength, right? And his ability was just resilience. Resilience on a bronze card. Yeah, that was a thing. That happened. So you play it as a 6, very low tempo, but if it survives, it provides another 6 points in the next round. So this is how this card got, you know, it's 12 points of value. And you could have 3 of these, but, you know, as insane as that may sound, remember, Gwent is all about tempo. If you fall behind in tempo, you can get screwed. Back in beta Gwent, if you played a 6-point card, a 6-point bronze, that wouldn't do anything more that round, you could fall behind. Resilience is good. It's a good keyword. It's a very cool mechanic. And the carryover would let you definitely not fall behind in the following rounds. Like dropping this in round 1, you could potentially just be forfeiting round 1. But, you know, securing round 2 in a very nice way, you'd be safe from a dry pass. If you somehow did win, then you could bleed like crazy. But usually, you know, like I said, when all bronzes play for around 11 to 12 value, you play this as a 6, it doesn't do more that round, you fall behind in tempo. But for the carryover, it's potentially worth it. But what I did want to show you was just some of these patch changes, as you can see here. So it was 6 strength here, right? December 2nd, 2016, Defender strength changed from 3 to 4. March 23rd, 2017, strength changed from 4 to 5. And resilience was changed to only last 1 round. So yes, very early on, resilience lasted through the entire match. August 29th, 2017, Machon Defender power changed from 5 to 6. And units with resilience now have their boosted power reset when carried over to the next round. So, not only did resilience originally last through all the rounds, up until here, if you boosted a resilient unit, you kept the boost. And December 19, 2017, now agile as every other unit was melee. So, in the beginning of Open Beta Gwent, a lot of the cards were locked to the melee row, the ranged row, or the siege row, which we don't have anymore. But there was a 3rd row. Cards were row locked, but they became more and more agile, which was just, you can play this on any row. And then there was a major update. I believe it was this one, probably. Yeah, judging by the date, I think this was the agility update, where I think every card became agile, because they just realized, okay, it's these limitations make some cards and decks a lot weaker. And I mean, honestly, I don't remember. It was almost 3 years ago at this point, but there was a change that made, I think, every card agile, so they could be placed anywhere. Which we have now as well. But now, you know, we have more row-locked effects. I don't remember if there were that many of those back in the day. I mean, there were some. But yeah, like row lock now is just like mostly a balancing tool. And sometimes a little bit for flavor. But back in Beta Gwent, especially early on, it was just almost all units had a row lock. That's just how they worked. Anyway, that was Machon Defender. The next few cards will not take this long. I had to explain a lot of the concepts of Beta Gwent, just for anything here to make sense. I'm just going to click random page. I'm going to see if I can find a cool gold card to show you. So I'll see you then. Hope you're still sticking with me here. Random page. Alright, I didn't find a gold yet, but I found a silver card, which, you know, I realized may be more interesting to people. So again, silver cards were just a way to have more limitations when we didn't have the provision system. You could have 6 silvers, 4 golds. Now it's just, we have epic golds and legendary golds, and if you can afford to put them in your deck, you can put them in your deck. But here we have Vincent Mace. You know, a very different ability than what he has now. 9 strength, silver card for NR. Destroy the armor of all units, then boost self by half the value destroyed. So kind of comparable to King Ragnar, who destroys the shields of all units and boosts self by 3, so it's a set value. But, you know, armor... I don't remember how prevalent armor was, but I do remember NR had some really good, really powerful armor decks. Did this card see play? I think it did. I honestly don't remember a lot of these cards, if they were seeing a lot of play, but I think this one did. I know Armor NR was pretty good at some point. You know, we have the famous Radovid Africa meme. If any of you remember that, that's a meme from the beta. Doesn't make sense now because we don't even have Radovid, but I think you just go to YouTube and just search for Radovid Africa and you'll find a version of it, usually accompanied by Toto's Africa, which is it. I love it, but you know, for someone who wasn't around during that time, it's probably not nearly as funny. But to people like me, the old school people, it's hilarious. So here we can see December 19, 2017. That was the agility update, right? This is when they added him. Oh, was this Midwinter? Is this the infamous Midwinter update where they fucked up the game? It may be. I'm not going to get into that because that's a long story, but long story short, there was an update called Midwinter Update where they dumbed down a lot of the cards. I think they added a lot of new cards, like Vincent. And it messed up the game. And, you know, this was December 2017. And it was only a few months later they announced, okay, we're redoing the whole game. So Midwinter is, you know, infamous among beta players for pretty much breaking the game. And here his name was changed. Oh, he was just called Vincent, but now it's Vincent Mace, and he gained a power. Okay. I mean, this is a pretty cool card. I'm sure we could see something like this now. We do have armor back in the game after Iron Judgment, so I'd love to see something like this back. Armor is... It's mostly just like incidental 1 armor here. You know, sometimes 2 armor there. So I don't know if boosting self by half the value is necessary. I mean, Ragnar boosts by just 3 for every shield, so... Yeah, just make it boost by the amount of armor, and we can probably bring this back. That'd be cool. Let me know what you think. Alright, I'm gonna go find us a new card. This is kind of cool. I've been thinking about doing this before, but it's fun to actually do it. Alright, still no gold cards. I promise we'll get to some gold. So just really quick wanted to bring up this Incinerating Trap, because this is a card we have now, but it was so different back then. The most important thing, this card is spawned with Dolblathana Bomber. This was a token back in the day. Dolblathana Bomber is, you know, the 2 strength elf that damages 2 random enemies by 2. It used to spawn this, and this is a spying unit, so it went on the opponent's row, and then on the end of their next turn, it would damage all other units on the row by 2, and then banish itself. So it's kind of, I mean, we have Crushing Trap now, which does a similar thing. You play it on your side, but it damages the opposite row, all units by 2. So it's kind of like that, but it's just... And it was a machine. It was a machine. Very interesting. That's actually a very flavorful card. I remember that now. I like the flavor of that card. I mean, a bomber spawning, like... I mean, I guess it's an explosive bear trap, but still. If we got like an elven trapper or something, and it did something similar to this, like made a spying trap or something, that'd be nice. Oh, this has had a lot. Fireball Trap now spawns 1 neophyte instead of none when target is not destroyed. And here it became a token. Oh my god, this used to do something completely different. And it was his own card, apparently. I don't remember that. And now loyal. And you don't get the token. And then damage changed from 5 to 3. And we got the token. And here it became this, but it did 3 damage, ignoring armor. Damage from 3 to 2, but it doesn't ignore armor anymore as well. So, nerfed. Added machine tag, very unnecessary. And name change, Incinerating Trap, and added token tag. That just shows you how some of these cards changed in beta. And look at them now. Look at these cards now. This and Double Thunder Bomber. Gwent has changed so much. Alright, the next one will be a gold, I promise. Alright, I got us a spicy gold card finally. And I also noticed with some of these cards, I don't think it applies to all of them. With some of these cards, the ability listed here is the one we currently have. But if you just look here, you will see like the old beta ability. That's really weird because, you know, Markham Defender didn't have this. And Incinerating Trap sure as hell didn't have it. But with some of these golds, like I went past John Natalis as well, and he also had his current ability here, but the actual beta ability here. But so if you decide to do this, just be aware of this. If the ability here is its current ability, just go here. So one thing that we had, excuse me, one thing that we had in open beta were what we call the Silver Mages. So every faction had a silver card that was a mage, and they had the same power. I don't remember what the power was exactly, but they all had a very similar effect. Play one of select 3 special cards. And you know, these were in a lot of decks because they all had Clear Skies, I think, which removed weather. And then they had I know some of them had Alzur's Thunder, not all of them, I think. And then, you know, some other one. I don't remember what they all had, unfortunately, but every faction had one. You know, one silver card, it was a mage. They all had the same power. They all spawned and played one of 3 cards. You got to choose. It wasn't random, and it wasn't create. It was a select 3 that was chosen for each mage. One was always Clear Skies, I think, and then, you know, 2 more. NR, however, also had a gold mage, which was Kira Metz, which spawned Alzur's Thunder, Thunderbolt, or Araka's Venom. So this didn't have Clear Skies. The Silver Mages did. This did not. Alzur's Thunder did the same that it does now, except more damage, of course, because base powers were a lot higher. I think towards the end it did 9 damage. I'm pretty sure it did 9 damage, and with it doing 9, it was about the same value that it has now in terms of removal relative to the powers of the cards. Thunderbolt and Araka's Venom. I can't click on any of those. I think Araka's Venom did something similar to what it does now. Thunderbolt, I don't know. We didn't have artifacts, so this is what Thunderbolt Potion was. It was a special card. I don't remember what it does. I guess we can go see. And here, if you want to pause the video and look at these patch changes, here you go. I'm gonna see if I can find this Thunderbolt Potion. Or just Thunderbolt, as it was called. Okay, I found it, but it doesn't have any text, which is a shame. But, I mean, if anyone remembers, if anyone watching this, you know, played during beta and remembers what it did, you know, please let us know in a comment. But I'm pretty sure Araka's Venom did the same thing that it does. Maybe that has a text? No. Okay. Never mind. Next card. Alright, here's one that I actually remember pretty well. You know that armor NR deck that I was talking about with Vincent Mace? Well, Prince Stennis was a very major part of this. And he was a silver card, 3 points. And he played a random non-spying bronze or silver unit from your deck. And he gave it 5 armor. And he himself had 3 armor. So obviously very good with Vincent Mace. Here are the tooltip changes if you want to pause and look at those, if that interests you. So this was very, very good. This armor NR deck, it actually had very much of a hyper thin functionality to it. Because Northern Realms had a lot of thinning bronzes back in the day. Commandos, the Dun Banners, that are still thinning bronzes. And, you know, some other stuff. I think Vernon Roche, the spying one. No, we had Dijkstra. There was a Dijkstra card for NR, which was what Vernon Roche is now, the 3-string spy that plays 2 cards from your deck. So this plays a random non-spying bronze or silver unit, but you know they thinned their deck so consistently that they could pretty much guarantee that Prince Stennis got exactly what they wanted. And I'm going to try to find that card. Because this is one of the decks that I remember the most. Like, one of the strategies. It was my first time actually climbing the ladder properly. And just really, really feeling like I was actually learning a deck pretty well was this armor deck. So I'm going to see if I can find the card that they wanted to get with Prince Stennis, and very consistently did. So just give me 1 second. Alright, so I think it was Kaedweni Cavalry, but its ability makes me think that maybe I'm wrong. It destroys a unit's armor, then boosts self by the amount destroyed. So, am I wrong? I feel like this is the one they got. Oh wait, you know what? You know what they did? You know, I think I know what they did. I think I remember. Does she have? Yes, Shawnee. I guess we're not getting to see the art yet because my internet sucks, but she used to resurrect a non-cursed bronze or silver unit and give it 2 armor. So you would res. Let's see, she would have 4 points. There she is. And you would res John Natalis. Then you're up to 7 points. You give him 2 armor, so he's up to 5. See, 7 points. And then he would play randomly, but you've thinned, so he would play Kaedweni Cavalry, which had 8 strength and would destroy Radovid. Stennis' 5 armor, boost to 13, and then you're up to 20 points against fucking Radovid Africa, who does 20 fucking points with Shawnee. You fucking R word. Yes, I'm not gonna say the R word, but again, just look up the Radovid Africa meme and you will know exactly what I mean. That was the thing. That was the thing. And that was a pretty cool combo. I remember that being a very cool combo. It felt very much like Gwent, you know? Like you thin your deck, you get Stennis in the graveyard, and then you do a very, very neat play where you play Shawnee, you res Stennis with extra armor, and he consistently plays exactly the card you want that takes the armor off of Stennis and boosts itself to very good value for a 20-point play, which even for a gold card was very good back in the day. So that was that. Here's the patch changes again, if anybody wants to see that. Seems like she had a lot of power changes. Most cards did. Alright, let's do one more. let's do one more. We'll see what we get. All right, here's Sara. You know, something to please the Nilfgaardian viewers. Sara was a silver card. Like basically, if it's epic rarity now, it was a silver card. I think that goes for almost 100% of the cards. I think some cards actually switch between silver and bronze. Although I may be wrong about that. Anyway, Sara. 6 strength. Deal 7 damage to an enemy or set a revealed opposing unit's power to 1. Reveal. Reveal was kind of a thing in early Homecoming, but it didn't work the same. In beta, Reveal let you reveal cards in your opponent's hand. And your own hand. For some tempo plays. But yeah, you reveal cards in your opponent's hand. And it wasn't that difficult to just gain access to your opponent's entire hand and just see every card they had. Imagine that. Imagine being able to see if your opponent plays Igni before you commit to the greed. That'd be very nice. That'd be very overpowered. So this could either deal 7 damage, which wasn't quite what Alger's Thunder did. And, you know, I can only assume that, you know, we have Alger's Thunder dealing 5, which is considered decent removal. And we have a lot of 5-for-5 removal cards. And, you know, any units that can deal like 4 or 5 damage is considered very good. So this does less than Alger's Thunder does. But it's on a body, 6 strength body. A 13-point card with removal that would kill most engines. I could be very wrong about that. I do think there are a lot of engines that would die to this. I kind of hope, because it would be kind of useless if it didn't kill engines. But yeah, like if you reveal just a big card in your opponent's hand, and that was just a better target, do it. And obviously, it's similar to what's he called, Shillard, who on deploy sets the power of the highest unit in the opponent's hand to 1. Except, you know, you could see the units in their hand, and you could choose one. But I guess that's the most similar interaction that we have now. Imagine if Shillard just had a secondary effect where he would just, you know, deal proper removal damage to an enemy unit instead. That will make that card very good, I think. You know, in matchups where you won't get such a big hit in the hand, and you just do this instead. I used to do 6, actually. Used to be 9 power and do 5 damage. Added. Good. I'm glad he was added. That's interesting. It's kind of a cool card. It's kind of cool to see. To go on a nostalgia trip and see the old reveal mechanics that were crazy. Alright, let's do one more. Let's do one more, please. Alright, I figured for the last one, although it kind of won't be the last one because I want to go into just a couple of other cards just to explain a combo that we used with this. Leaders back in beta were units. They were units. You had your 10 card hand and you had your leader. Like in that sense, it worked the similar way, where it was in addition to your deck, you always had it. But instead of it being an order effect that you use as well as playing a card, it was just like an 11th card that you could play. And you didn't play it along with a card in your hand. It was just that was the card you played that turn. So So leaders just worked very differently back in the day. And Kraken Crate, who later turned into Onslaught, one of the least played leaders in the game at this point, was actually quite popular, and I liked him. So he was a 5 strength unit. Strengthen the highest non-spying bronze or silver unit in your deck by 2 and play it. So he basically, when you played this, he would tutor out the unit with the highest power among your bronzes and silvers. He would tutor it out, strengthen it by 2. That's not boost, that is strengthen. So its actual base power would increase, which would be relevant for resurrection-based mechanics, which Skellige of course has. We know very well they do. So he would play it, strengthen it by 2, and I'm going to show you the combo that I remember. Alright, so the first combo piece is the Uncrate Greatsword. Now this is not what you play with your leader. This you just played normally. And it used to do something very, very different. Every 2 turns, if damaged, heal self and strengthen by 2 on turn start. Greatsword was a problematic card. It definitely was. So it was like a self-wound engine, kind of similar to Armored Drakkar, right? Where you have to keep wounding it. And we had Dim and Light Longship, which basically did what Svalbard Priest does now. So it's a very similar interaction where you're paying it for 1 every turn, and every 2 turns you actually gain points out of it. Except you gain a lot more, because he would heal himself for the at least 2 damage he was dealt, and then he would strengthen himself by 2. So it was like 4 points every 2 turns. And a lot of the cards that strengthened themselves instead of boosting, they gained a regressing tag, which meant that their base power was reset when they left the board. Just because there was a lot of OP strengthening shit going on. But Greatsword didn't get that, because the whole point of the card was that in round 3, after setting up a big Greatsword, you could just resurrect him at like 20 points. And that was problematic. Because even back in beta, a 20-point bronze, although I think they were usually like 24 or 25 or something, I don't know. But a 24-point bronze, even back in beta, was huge. So, yes, you would play Greatsword. That's the first step. This is what it does. Here's the change log. It was a fairly recent card. So not too many changes. And the final card was Django Fred. Now remember, Greatswords had 8 strength. Django Fred has 10 strength. This was the highest unit in the deck. This is what you played with Kraken Crate. You brought this out, strengthened it to 12, and then deal 1 damage to 2 allies. So you would ping preferably 2 Greatswords, but at least 1 Greatsword, and strengthen self by 2 for each. So it would enable Greatswords, right? It would get the Greatsword started. And this would come down at 16 strength. And that's kind of fine, right? Because like I said, for a silver card, you were looking at maybe like 14, 15 value. This came down at 16 strength, but that was with the help of a 2 strengthen from leader. And, technically, it was worth 2 less points because you damaged 2 allies by 1. Of course, that doesn't account for the fact that you're setting up Greatswords, which are insane. But yeah, this gets strengthened to 16. And then, yeah, we're not done. Sigrifa, which used to be a unit, 3 strength unit, resurrect a bronze or silver clan unit. It was basically like a lot of the cards that had clans in their name or in their tags or something. But you would resurrect your boy, Django Fred, who would come back in a later round. And, because he was strengthened, he would still be at 16. And then, you know, you ping another 2 Greatswords in a later round, because, you know, back then we had 3 Greatswords and 3 Freya's Blessing, which was now Priestess of Freya, which was a 1 strength unit that did the same thing that it does now. So, like, all these reses just had extra points attached to them, and you would res Greatswords, and then you would Sigrifa, Django Fred, you know, ping the 2 Greatswords, boost up by 2 for each, so Sigrifa plus Django, 23 points for a silver card, which was insane. And, you know, you also had these Greatswords that are probably like 20 plus points that you just, you know, set up for even more value. Oh, it was insane. It was insane, but like that's what Beta Gwent was about. Like things were a lot crazier. A lot crazier. Yeah, that's fun. It was fun, and honestly, like if the Greatswords hadn't been that oppressive, I think it would have been just a really cool combo. Because like the setup required, like getting that 20 strength Django, like it requires you to use a leader on it, and it requires you to have played it once before. So there's setup, there's synergy, there's combos. And, you know, Beta Gwent was all about that round 3 finisher. And, you know, we had it. We had it with Django. And, you know, Sigrifa was a unit, so if you only had time to get one other unit for Django, like, she provided the other one. So he would still boost up. He would still be worth a lot of points. It's classic. Classic Gwent. Do I miss it? I miss parts of it. I don't miss that these resurrection cards were units with extra power. Sorry about the nose thing, it's kind of itchy. I don't miss that there were a lot of bronze special cards were just inherently designed to not be played by themselves. Like they were made extra weak, just like a 1 or 2 points too weak, because there were so many bronzes, like 1 or 2 strength bronzes that tutored these cards. So like if you look at tutoring special cards now, it's like 8 provision, you know, gold units, 2 strength that tutor a special card. But back then it was like a 1 strength bronze unit, 2 strength bronze unit. So thinning was crazy, and just that thing that the bronze cards, the bronze specials had to be made worse, so they weren't good when you played them by themselves, just because they could be tutored by units with strength, bronze units, and yeah, just like that was just inherently bad. So that's gotten a lot better. Like limiting tutoring to gold cards, doing it, good, very good. We have some thinning bronzes, but that's fine. I think that's perfectly fine the way it works now. I don't miss not having the provision system. I think the provision system, once they ironed out some of the problems with it and definitely improved it a few months into its existence, it's definitely a system that I'm overall grateful for. And it just adds more flexibility, right? Like, because like being limited to 4 golds and 6 silvers, right? It was always very obvious. Like 3 of those golds and like 4 or 5 of those silvers were pretty much set in stone. Like Royal Decree was a gold card. Pretty much every deck had that. And I think it only tutored gold units. But it was still so good back then that one of those 4 golds was always Royal Decree. And one of the silvers was always the Silver Mage. And then there was just it was just very pre-decided what was the best. Very little variety in those cards, in those slots rather. And I guess you could say that that happens now as well, but with the provision system, it's so much easier to adjust it. Like, they can tweak it, they can fix it. And yeah, just variety between archetypes, between decks, especially in terms of the gold cards, I think is a lot better now. But yeah, this video has gone on for way too long. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this trip down memory lane. For some of you, this could be nostalgic. For others, it's like a bunch of cards you've never seen before. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, I would love to do this again sometime. Or if you have other ideas for, you know, non-gameplay but still Gwent related videos that you would like me to make, that would be great. You know, because I love playing Gwent and I love recording gameplay videos, but I would like to produce more Gwent related content without having to constantly come up with decks to play and find decks and pray to God I don't queue into Overwhelming Hunger too much. It's very relaxing to just do something like this. So if you did enjoy this, do click like and consider subscribing if you haven't already, just to let me know that this is something you like. I will try to make them shorter in the future. I mean, you know me, I have tendencies. I have tendencies to ramble. But in an attempt to counteract those tendencies, I'm going to end this video now. Thanks again for watching. I think I've said it like 3 or 4 times now. Hope you enjoyed it. I've said that at least twice. And I hope to see you again very soon. Hopefully tomorrow. Well, if I can find a deck, I'll probably make a video tomorrow. Just a normal gameplay video. You know, back to basics. And also, card reveals should resume tomorrow. Because it's a new week. Weekdays, you know, we should expect at least 3 card reveals. Very nice. Yeah, have a good one, and hope to see you again soon.